G'day, doggies fans, all things Bulldogs. It's episode 40 of the podcast. We're still going in the off season. Timmy's already on there. Thanks for being a member, Timmy. And Gas is in the house yet again. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, mate. Ready to rock and roll. Everything's going great. Off season is moving fast. Daily countdown is moving fast. We're 123 today, the big 2-3. So it's moving, mate. It's moving. We're getting there.
We're definitely getting there. So we'll wait for a few people to come on. So far, we've got 9 people. And we're actually streaming through the Dogfather page on Facebook now and also on X with the Dogfather account there. So working out the technology.
Awesome.
See how that bloody goes. See if we'll get any trolls online. Probably will, because on the Dogfather has upset quite a few people on Twitter. It's a little bit more hostile there. So Timmy's straight up into Kikau. So we're going to talk about Kikau. We're going to talk about Preston. We're going to talk about latest signings within the club, what the top 30 currently looks like officially and what it should look like, and a bunch of stuff like that. So Timmy's, come say hello if you're out there. Come have a say hello on the chat and tell us what you think. So there you go, guys. There you go. What do you think? And make sure you like and subscribe wherever you are. Okay, just do it. G'day, David Miller. Welcome to you again, brother.
Dave, Tim, boys, how are we?
And Aussie Adam's back. Welcome, Aussie Adam. And make sure you get out there to Aussie. He's not a big fan of the logo, but don't worry, brother. It'll grow on all of us. They always do. If we win a comp in it, it won't matter, brother. I'll tell you that much. We can get a 2-year-old to do it. And Aussie Adams Prison Stories, make sure you go and subscribe to that and check out his YouTube channel. Lot to learn over there. So it's good to see you, Adam. Rhett, welcome to you. Oh, g'day, Ace. How you going, mate? Well, look, me and Gas, we can throw the ball to each other and he can catch it. Look. We'll have to set that up one day. Like, we'll do some we'll play for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Welcome, Joby. How you going, guys?
Brett, Ace, welcome. Aussie, Adams.
All right, well, we've got enough people here to start and get this cranking. So pretty much the way it's going to roll tonight, we're going to talk about Prestomania for Australia. I haven't seen the Australian side listed yet. I think that might be something to do with the time difference. Didn't even see the official 1 hour side, and it was 20 minutes before kickoff. So that was a bit weird. And I stayed up to watch it before falling asleep halfway through. And g'day, Jay Pizzle. Welcome to you. We're also going to talk about Kikau, of course, a couple of youngsters that have signed, probably some ones that are on their way out the door. I think we can start talking about a lot of that now. And also, our top 30, we'll just keep looking at it and get everyone's thoughts and concerns or questions on who should stay, who should go, all that sort of stuff. Keeping it positive as usual. Let's get into it. Welcome to everyone who's joined and saying hello. So, Preston, Jacob Preston, is there anything official out yet with the Australian team?
Nothing of yet,
mate. Yes.
Nothing yet. We're keeping an eye out to see if they name the team anytime soon, and we're all hoping that he gets a call up for game 2. So. I know Ace is saying it's depressing without footy. At least we still got some internationals, and there was a couple of good games. Even the Samoa-Tonga game was absolutely brutal on the weekend. I know it was sort of one-sided, and it was a long delay for the Storm, but that was a very, very intense high energy game. A lot of big hits and fast. Obviously, they didn't take their chances and didn't get the score close, but that was a very intense sort of origin type feel of game. I think, like the commentators were saying during the game, it's a shame it's only played occasionally, and they might not meet again for a while. So, yeah, that's a good rivalry they've really built up there with a lot of really good players on both sides. So, yeah.
All right. Well, look, let's have a look at this screen. We'll make us a little bit smaller, make that bigger. So this is the squad that was named. I think it changed a little bit. No, that's the actual finalised squad. So Michael Ennis today was suggesting that they should bring Ethan Strange in. I really think that's a ridiculous point of view, to be honest. What I think will happen is I think that the guy that's going to get picked is Lindsay Smith. I think they'll replace a forward with a forward. They'll move Patrick Carrigan into the lock position, and they'll just bring either Keon, Lindsay Smith himself, or even a player like Ruben, any of them really, into the starting lineup. I don't know which one. I'd probably say they might bring Keon in to start. Kalamatangi, who's also just said that he's going to have to get surgery after this tour. So he's going to miss the entire preseason for South Sydney. So that's not a good thing for them. But, yeah, I think it'll be Lindsay Smith. And if it's not Lindsay Smith, I think it'll be Jacob Preston. But I've got a feeling that Kevy's going to pick Lindsay Smith in the side first. Replace a middle with another middle, although, there's a lot of talk about Hudson Young. Hudson Young was the top tackler for the Kangaroos on the weekend. I think he had about a combination of 9 ineffective and missed tackles as well. But his line speed was pretty good. Made 3 errors with the footy. The Kangaroos only completed 24 sets. To put that into perspective, the Cronulla Sharks completed 24 sets against the Bulldogs in the first half in round 27 this year. So that's how many the Australian team completed in the whole match with a play the ball speed of 4 seconds. Over 4 seconds, Harry Grant somehow managed to run the ball 11 times from dummy half, which is unbelievable. Off such slow play the balls. The game's just played a different way, and we got up off them, but they're allowed to lay on us, and we still put 4 tries on them. Didn't play that well, in my opinion, the Australian side, and still smashed them. So
I think that did play a big part as well. They weren't allowed to play. I think the refereeing standard was very poor, I thought, overall. I mean, you were able to get away with blue murder before anything was given. So it was a very challenging game to watch from a refereeing perspective. And I'm sure anyone else who watched the game might have felt the same way. It wasn't sort of an NRL sort of type game where somebody does a little bit too much and they get penalised. He was allowing a lot. Just really late in the game, he started to sort of do a few 6 agains and a few penalties. But by that stage, the game had already deteriorated. It's kind of suited the Aussies at the end. It sort of worked against, the Poms. But anyway, at the end of the day, this week it'll be an Aussie ref, so we'll see how that goes. The guys will be probably a bit more familiar with that. But, I don't know. Did you feel the same way with that standard overall?
Yeah, pretty much so. Like, you got to expect a bit of clunkiness in the first game, and I'll talk a little bit about that when it comes to the Pacific Nation side. The English side, myself and Joby were talking about this earlier, was saying stuff like because they defeated Samoa and Tonga, or Tonga then Samoa, in the last 2 years in those test series over there, and the fact both of those sides have had some big performances, with Tonga beating Australia in a game and stuff like that. And the Aussies losing probably a few more internationals in the last couple of decades than they've ever lost. It gave them this false sense of security that they were going to go out there and win. And a lot of fans of theirs believe that as well. I think there was quite a bit of, it's a hard thing to get right for an English side, but which just doesn't have the depth, and they've had struggles with cap money, and teams are really struggling to put players on the park. But the game's still, the fans still turn up to watch it. They still buy the jerseys. There's a lot of passion in the north of England there, and they're breeding tough, resilient sort of players. But defensively, in a few areas, what happens is those big blokes, and once they have to sort of go through that little bit of a grind, which they probably don't mind slowing the game down and grinding it out. And we saw for that first 25 minutes it took for Australia to score. But once they sort of missed a couple of opportunities, they made a few line breaks out wide. We just started splitting them. Reece Walsh, it was a training run for him. And Joby also made another really good point that, he had a good game, Reece Walsh. He did. At the same time, I felt the whole spine played really, really well. The space that they gave him taking it to the line, Munster run the ball a lot, so did Cleary. They engaged the defence really well. He had plenty of space, and he was able to utilise it really, really easily. And, and that break he made from the back, he made a couple actually, with just woeful kick chase at the end of the day. He's not usually doing that in the NRL too often, just splitting people from he's not doing the Ben Barber thing too often. It's just more in attacking zones. He just eats up that territory over 10 metres so quick you can't get a hand on him, and teams hang off him, and that makes the problem. But he also had some really good moments with stopping some tries as well. But another mate made a big point of this, is that if he continues to his last 5 try-saving efforts, which over the semi-finals and in the grand final and on that game, he's anticipated the ball being passed. Now, I'm going back to some good, like Josh Morris wouldn't have passed half those balls. He would have dummied and got through and scored tries, you know what I mean? Like, players are going to work this out and are going to make him look a little bit silly in some games. So I'll just see if he can keep this up over a full season. Because for me, Reece Walsh, if his whole game's going to be built from how well the improvement he makes defensively, and he's made a lot of improvements there. If he continues to do that, I think he's going to be someone that opposition teams are going to struggle to deal with for many, many years. But look, in this game, it was 9 line breaks to 3 from 24 completed sets. Like, that's just woeful defense. And they were conceding 47 meters per set from the Australians. So we packed a lot into the 24 that we completed, and but made some ridiculous mistakes. Both edges made some obscene mistakes with the football. And after the game, they said that the English were being really dirty or something. Maybe, but that's an international footy against the English. Like, what do you expect? Anyway, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, mate. Pretty much like you said, mate. So, yeah, I think there's a pattern like with Walsh, like you said. So once people pick up on that, I still feel like I've said it for so long, so many times. You throw a few dummies with him, and then you start to confuse him as well. He's been made to look good by guessing right a few times, and people have respected him maybe too much in that respect. Instead of just taking him on, playing eyes up footy, just throwing the dummy and off they went. I mean, if he's good enough to turn back and chase, so be it. You still got the guys supporting you anyway. So it's not the end of the world. But yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how he goes. But he hasn't done a full season like you said anyway. I mean, Ben Barber, when he was on for the whole year and he won a Daily M. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if he can have a sustained year where he just dominates like that. He kind of comes in and out of games sometimes, or in and out of periods of the year. So his consistency is definitely improved in the latter half of the year. But, how he goes overall, and other teams will start, working him out in other ways to shut him down and tire him out, etc. So, but yeah, at the moment, mate, he's got the Midas touch and he's red hot. But a lot of players have done that over the years for certain periods and then, gone up and down. It's that consistency now. How well can he maintain it and how long can he maintain it for? So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, looking through the player stats of the English, they had 5 players make over 100 metres, and that was their back 5. Their wingers and their centres plus their 5'8" George Williams. Not one forward got near 100 metres. So they were just playing it out of their back end the whole. That's the reason. They just had no footy where they could really advance things from field position because we just dominated it. 60,000 in attendance too. That was a pretty good crowd. Would have been great to be there that day. I don't know what it was a sunny, hot day. I don't know what the temperature was. It probably wouldn't be too.
Yeah, probably in the 20s for Wembley.
Maybe even less.
Yeah.
Getting towards winter there.
Even the 6 points they got, they should never have got. I mean, Cleary, that was a very poor penalty to give away when really that kick was too deep. He wasn't going to get there. Didn't have to run him off the ball. So gave them another set and they ended up cracking late in the game. They would have been happy to have them at duck, 0. So that was, poor effort from Cleary. It was too obvious.
Yeah.
So, but
I felt Nathan played well overall, though. But you're definitely right about that. So
have a go at some chats, I think, mate, while you're there.
All right, buddy. I'll just take this down, and we're back. Timmy says Samoa are going to be hard to beat at the full strength in the World Cup. Yeah, I think all those teams will. And even this English side, if it gets its bloody act together, could do a little bit more. Aussie said he hopes Kikau stays for another 4 years. Dave says, Tim, they don't have Presto. Samoa have no chance. I like that comment. Well done. Walsh should be rested, do you think? I don't think they'll rest him, no. Can't see that happening. And there's Aki. Welcome to you. Aussie says, go the boys. Oh, he's waiting on a Harry Hayes AI song. Love your work, bro. All right. That'll be my next project, brother. The Heart of Harry. I've actually done a couple. They just didn't sound that good to me. So I haven't used them, but that's it. Smash the heart chats, people. Smash them. Get them out there. Aussie says the game against England, wow, what a game that was. It's always good to see Australia versus England. Wait till we see how fit he's going to be next season. This kid don't stop. Scotty, are you Harry? I think you might be Harry Hayes, brother. I've got a feeling you are fucking Harry Hayes. Like, seriously, mate. Like, I love Harry, and I want to show you something. I'm actually coming up with. I'm going to do a canvas of Harry Hayes. I might even send you one out in the mail, Scotty, if you're lucky. Just the canvas, not on a frame or nothing. You'll have to frame it yourself. But I'm going to make some stuff for Harry. I love Harry. He's a wizard, Harry. I'll tell you, we've got to do something with our cameras so our heads are the same size. It looks like I'm fucking Goliath and you're David there, Gas.
I think you're very up close and personal on your one, mate.
Oh yeah, baby. Can you give us your earliest memory of a game you've been to as a Doggies fan? I can, James. Do you want to? That's a good little. We'll just say hello to Pete first.
Hey, Pete.
Fresh day for young thoughts. Bloody 1:30 a.m. That's it. Yeah. Well, look, I think Preston should come in for Hudson. I actually agree with me mate Joby on this, who's also he'll come on in a week or so and say hello. Pete Noonan wants to come back on as well. Shout out to Pete. And shout out to the Peter Webber. He's actually holds the record for the largest ever flathead ever caught. You can see it right there. Not Willem Powerfish, it's actually Peter Webber. So there you go. But yeah, look, I think Hudson Young should go to the bench and play middle, and whack Presto on the right edge, because Hudson Young's just not a genuine right edge. And Presto, although he'd prefer to play left, he is a genuine right edge option for any side in the NRL or international side. So I think Prestomania should take over the world. And it was good the other day because there was a photo of two blokes, and one was an absolute superstar and the other was a bloke called Bon Jovi. And Jovi was just they reckon he was really nervous when he met Jacob Preston, as we all would be.
Did you hear what the photographer said to him?
What did he say?
He said, "Who's that guy with Jacob Preston?"
That's it. That's it. He did. I heard about that too. They all said it.
Yeah.
And like all these Aussie teammates were like wanting Bon Jovi sort of to move to the edge of because they all wanted to be closer to Presto in the photo, because they know that the person who's next to Preston in the photo is going to, be worth more in the future. All right, let's give us some earliest memories. James, he wants one from me and one from you too, Gas. So my first, I'll go. Or you go first, Gas.
No, go for it, mate. Go for it.
Oh no, let's have a bourbon or a Coke or whatever we're having.
Non-alcoholic, mate.
I know you don't drink, bro. You go first, Gas. Tell me yours. First, a game you went to, earliest memory.
Multicultural Day, 93. So that was a big game, big crowd. It was Dogs against Eels. I think it was 42-4 off memory. It was a big event, big day. A lot of crowd, and obviously in those days they used to really pack out Belmore a lot more than they do now, and it was huge. It was a game you never forget, and it was a game that I probably rewatched over and over and over again. Almost memorized that game for a long time. So it was a special game. But I used to ride the bike down the road and park it down behind, and then hop into the ground. So, and anyone who remembers Belmore used to remember how famous we were for the fights on the Terry Lamb Family Hill over the back there, when everyone used to just be running during the middle of a game. You see everyone running off, then there was a fight, off they went, and there was something going on back there, and you're like, oh, guys. But no, I always had my seat on the 40-meter line on the Family Hill side, on those metal those chairs down the front there, just off the halfway, yeah. But one thing that always stuck out with me was a moment. I had my late brother that was sitting with me, and Mum used to pack some fruit. We used to take it with us to the game, and Dogs were playing the Raiders in one game, and all of a sudden this apple hit me on Meninga in the leg as they were packing the scrum. And I turned, it was my brother who threw the apple. And I grabbed it, and Meninga picked up the apple and looked, and everyone just held their breath, and then he threw it and hit the side of side of the gate, like below where the seats were, and everyone just shot. And I said, "But if you do that again, I'm throwing you over to him." But yeah, that was a memory I'll always remember as well from the Belmore days. But what about yourself?
Look, it's hard to put it. There's quite a few there. The first time I went to Belmore and I watched the Bulldogs versus the Penrith Panthers. I get sketchy on when it was, whether it was 85 or 80. I think it was 86 or 87. And I remember Greg Alexander swearing his head off at a touch judge, at a touchy. No, it was actually the ball boy. And he's only young, and my mum just hated him after that because of the way he acted. The Bulldogs flogged them. It was like 24-6 or something like that. Like, it was an easy win. It was the same at the Sharks game. I remember a lot of stuff that happened in the crowd watching the game, like, and opposition fans and stuff.
Yeah.
This little old lady with a little toy shark who was hitting me brother in the face with a little toy shark. He took me to the game. He's actually not a Bulldog supporter. Robert yelled out to the ref and told him to tell his mum to shut up.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she had no teeth either, but one could have thought she was a South Sydney supporter. But yeah, it was a good day. Look, you just remember the blokes that I was just always focused on Steve Mortimer. Like, I just couldn't take my eyes off him, and Terry Lamb as well, Stephen Folkes. There's always something about Folkes because he was always in the tackle. And the big players like Gillespie, Langmack, all the big names, Peter Tunks, Brian Batiste, all these guys, Paul Dunn, when he came in from the Panthers. No, he came from the Roosters originally, I think. Oh, and Paul Dunn, if you're see him on your socials or whatever, he does his sponsorship ride every single year. He rides 750 kilometres for charity, so check him out. Clive Churchill medal winner in 1988, I'm pretty sure it was. Dunny, but yeah, James, look, another game I remember was at Wagga Wagga itself, where we made the semi-final of the Amco Cup pre-season challenge against Penrith in 1991, and we actually lost. I think we lost like 44-6 or something. And that's where the first game I saw it was the first game Darren Smith played for the club, I think, or that series in the pre-season. And Kyle White also played in that game as well, and I fell in love with him, with the way he belted people. And he's actually passed on now, Kyle White. But yeah, lots of memories from the footy. So many memories. And and I've always had an epiphany with Terry Lamb because my auntie Kathy coached his sister in netball, so I was always talked about it, and there he is on the TV. And Mum just used to sum it up very, very well. This anytime the Bulldogs make a break, he is going to be there to get the ball, and he certainly was for the next for over a decade later. Yeah, how that guy continued to play rugby league in the last 2 years, I don't know, but
without training either.
Yeah, well, it says something, doesn't it? The most dominant player in our team in the last 2 years probably played his best football and didn't train. Tells you something.
He would keep going to getting an arthroscopy on his knee and keep getting it cleaned out, and then he'd spend his time in the pool for rehab, and then he'd come out and play on game day.
Yeah, and I think he rode the bike sometimes too. Just ride the bike.
Yep.
James, thanks for... And we've got another James. We've got a couple of Jameses here. This James is a member. So welcome to you, buddy. Steve Gearon's try 1980 grand final. Absolutely brilliant. I actually saw another one of those scored by... everyone will remember him, the winger, but I can't remember his name. We scored another one just in a regular season game. We didn't win the comp that year or nothing. It was... But I can't remember his name. Scored a very similar try. And what about the try to the Brisbane girl on the weekend against Samoa?
That was spectacular.
That was brilliant.
That full-length dive, that was ridiculous.
Look, I never needed women's football. Like, I didn't need it. Like, I don't mind watching netball and basketball, and I love watching the Matildas. But watching NRLW is just actually, I enjoy it. I enjoy the way that the team, the competitiveness of the way. I know the top two teams were a standard above everyone else, but just the contact and everything in these games is it's good to see, and it just shows you though, like if we give more people on this planet opportunities to play rugby league, it's entertaining to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You know, my mate D, who does a lot of work with us, getting stats and all that sort of stuff and writing some pretty funny shit as well. He watches a lot of the Super League, and, you know, if you've got the time to watch some Super League and stuff, watch it because it's a good competition. But you just see the difference in how the professionalism of our game and the investment in our game in Australia is making the gap bigger and bigger and bigger between the two competitions, which is why the NRL has to get involved. Yeah. So, Scotty Warren grew up in the same place. If you do some work, you might find out a bit more, but I'm not just a big fan. They must see something in him. Signed till end of 2028. Dead set workhorses. Thanks, legend. Yeah, I love him, Scotty.
He's the Bulldog equivalent of Fui Moi Moi.
Hey?
He's the Bulldog equivalent of Fui Moi Moi. Harry Hayes.
Harry Hayes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Scott Shackleton, who used to impersonate him, the redhead. That was funny too.
Yeah.
On the Footy show.
Yeah.
I remember my old man taking me in 91 to Belmore. Terry Lamb was playing. I kicked my ball as 11-year-old on the scoreboard, probably still on there. I'll never forget it. Beautiful. Scotty's got one to share as well, and then we'll get back into the itinerary. My dad took me to the sheds after a game, got to meet Barber, Folksy, all them legends. I was in my element. Barber was always my favourite, best support player in the game. Well, I'll tell you what, Terry Lamb is still the same, mate. If he's standing there and there's people in the vicinity, he gets eye contact with people to shake their hand. What a champion.
He's a champion.
That does more for fans than anything. It's like acknowledgement of your presence. You don't get that from many people. Like they have their own lives. They focus on what they're doing. There he is. Tezza. What a champion.
Yeah.
Timmy's earliest memory was attending the Bulldogs games at Stadium Australia in 1999. One game against the Auckland Warriors. They were a red jersey back then. I love watching Darryl Halligan play. Julia Robinson has surpassed Marky Mark from the Roosters. 100%. Yeah, Julia Robinson should have won the Dally M for the women too. And I think they can call it a Dally M now. I didn't like the Dally M count when there was only 4 teams and 5 teams and 6 teams. Like, I just thought they played 6 games. But now they're playing 12 games, 13 games. It feels like a real comp. And it's only going to get better. And Adam loves Presto as well. I'm on the here.
I made a 42.12 billion search.
It's okay. Not true.
Oh, I thought it was.
My missus just got a spam thing that we won something, and I'm like, it's not true. I thought she was going to say we won lotto.
He's 1996, mate.
Rocket Rod.
No, that's me, mate. After holding up the National Cup.
Thought it was Rocket Rod Silver.
No, mate. That's after the 95 grand final, mate.
Yeah, everything's good, brother. Everything's good, brother. So how are we going?
Yeah, we're all caught up, mate. If you want to keep going.
All right. So, look, Presto to replace Hudson Young. Hudson Young to go to the bench. Presto straight in the right edge. I like that. I really like that. But I think they're going to put Lindsay Smith either to start, move. I think Patrick Carrigan moves to lock. And Lindsay Smith comes into the side. That's what I think will happen. That's what I think.
Yeah, they'll want to go hard and close out the series, mate, if they can.
They will. As you'll see along the bottom, we've just got the top 30 rolling along. He wants to know more about you with the trophy. When did you win it?
That was round one, or the first game we played at Belmore in '96. After we won in '95, they had a little tent set up when you first enter Belmore gates from the train station side. They had a little stand, and you could stand there next to it and take a photo. I wasn't content with that. I said, I want to take a photo. The Polaroids in those days, I want to pick it up. So I managed to convince them to pick it up, take the photo, and then got the little Polaroid they give you after they take the photo, and off you went. And then as I walked away, I looked back and everybody behind me wanted to do the same thing because they just had it sitting there. They wanted you to stand next to it. But yeah, that was a nice feeling, fresh after the grand final win. Yeah.
There you go. Beautiful. All right, so I've just made my seat go lower, so we're at the same sort of height because I'm like, oh, it's all semantics. It's all semantics. Look, let's talk about. Oh, Andy Sage has joined the group. Thank you, Andy Sage. You're a champion. Much appreciated, brother. James says, nice photo, good memories. All right. Viliame Kikau. Viliame Kikau. What's your thoughts on Viliame?
Well, he's an integral part of the team. I mean, if he wants to stay and they can make it work, mate, I can't see why you wouldn't want to keep him, mate. He's an effort player. Defensively, he's outstanding. I'd love to see him hang around. If they can take him off the market before November 1, mate, that'll be fantastic. It'll put a lot to bed. It all depends on really, really what he wants to do. I think the club won't stand in his way if he wants to test the open waters, especially with quite a few teams coming on board and at this late stage of his career. But I still think he's got a lot to offer, and he's been very important for us. So I'd like to see him finish what he started and get the premiership in Dogs colours.
Beautiful, brother. I've just got a Pete Webber's just said something. I'll get back to everyone else soon. And we'll talk about Patrick Young, James. Don't worry. We're going to talk about the others. Pete says his best memory was meeting me on King's birthday, him losing his hearing when Galvin scored to shut the critics up. I'll tell you what, it was a great day meeting you as well, Pete, and meeting your son. Really good day. Met Joby as well that day, which was fantastic. Had a wonderful day out with everybody. So we've got, look, kick out speculation driven by free agency as November 1 looms. Now, the story that was released by Fox today, was not from the club. It didn't come from Danny Wheedler. So it was either made up or it's come from Kikau's manager. If it's come from Kikau's manager, I would indicate that a lot in the article would be accurate, as far as that they'd be talking about a 2-year extension. He wants to stay with the Bulldogs. Obviously, got a lot of unfinished business. We are stacked in that area, though. We will have, Fainu Latu, I think you'll find. I think he's a lock, but I think he has played edge as well. We've got Josh Curran at the moment, but you think if Kikau's staying, Curran's probably not going to stay, but who knows about that as well. Like, if he wants to remain a Bulldog and he shows the club that they have to pick him, that's exactly what they will do. He's a free agent as well come November 1. Jacob Preston, obviously. Salmon can play an edge. Harry Hayes can play on the edge. Satili Tupanua plays edge, although I feel he's a middle at the Bulldogs now. You've also got Lewis Grossamy, who was re-signed for another New South Wales Cup contract for this year, so well done to him. And he'll get a chance at first grade after round 11. So, look, we lost Luke Smith, who was an edge player. They gave him a run at centre to see if that would be a sort of pathway for him. That hasn't worked out, and he's exploring options with another club. So thank you to Luke Smith, absolute champion. From what I've heard, him and his family are some of the best people going around, and it was would have been one of the most hardest decisions for the club to make. So as far as this article goes with Viliame Kikau today, I think it probably did come from a player manager. The Bulldogs deal, as I talked a lot about heavily, when that was leaked from a security guard, a photo of him in a Bulldogs jersey. The day before, he was told that he wouldn't be re-signed. They wouldn't be insulting him with a lower offer. That Liam Martin needed to take that number one sort of second rower position in that club, and that Viliame would be able to make good money at another club. They were very confident of that. And the next day, he signed with the Bulldogs once he was given permission the day before, to the detriment of the media, who would have loved to have talked about his contract for as long as they could, which is why it doesn't surprise me that it's getting close to November 1 and he still hasn't been announced that he's extended. Look, I expect it will be what it said. I think it will be a 2-year extension. Whether that plays out for a full 2 years, I don't know. Will there be a plan for him to play less minutes? Because it's one of those things, like, Kikau's intensity and effort over 80 minutes hasn't dropped at all. And I thought that it would be by now. So we'll see how he goes in 2026. You're only one injury away from a decision being a good one or a bad one. There's a lot that comes into it, but I think from his experience and leadership with Kick Chase, the fact that he is the vice captain at the club, I think he decides whether he stays or goes. And I've said this on this podcast quite a few times. It's not a case of the Bulldogs going to have to fight with another club to keep him or anything like that. I don't see that playing out. I just think it's like, okay, this is what we think we're worth. What do you think we're worth? Get it sorted. Deal done. And then, he transitions into some sort of pathway. For most of last year, though, I thought we would see potentially Kikau sort of might get a really huge offer from like the PNG consortium or from the Perth Bears or something like that, as a marquee sort of foundation club sort of signing. But I've always thought if he was determined to stay with the club would. I sort of see his influence a little bit like a Frankie Pritchard in a way, and that's no. People might hold Frankie in higher regard than Kikau and vice versa, but I just sort of see him that you wouldn't want to see him in another club's jersey now. I really wouldn't. But at the same time, I can understand if he decided he wanted to take big money elsewhere, he could. If he wants to stay with the Bulldogs, I can't see him staying on an increased salary, put it that way. I can't say. I think it would be similar or maybe a little bit less, maybe with some incentives or something in it, maybe some future coaching, or that work with the pathways with the Silk Tails, which he's had a lot to do with. And in that Fox Sports article today, they used comments from Kikau about the Silk Tails, which were from 2024, from way earlier this year, like in April or May or something, which annoys me. Why would you use those comments in an article written in November to make it look like he said it today? Like he's on holiday having a good time. He just got married. And congratulations to Big Bill Kikau for getting married. Well done.
And Mrs. Kikau.
And Mrs. Kikau. I think really good job. So let's get into... Oh, yeah, Timmy. Logan Spinks is the other one who's going to be in the top 30 from next year. So he sort of comes in as Kikau's on the way out. Maybe they need to keep Viliame. I thought maybe they just might extend him for 1 year, was my initial thoughts. But 2 years, if that's what he wants, that's what he'll get, I reckon. We're on the up. Anyone that doesn't get pushed out just leaves for more money and gets it in the back, I reckon. That's it, brother. That's how it goes. Kikau's manager trying to drive his price up. Would love to see him stay. If not, pay Harry more. He'll do the job. So, look, guys, on dogfathermedia.com, you will see all these articles. We don't want to we don't really like putting the Fox articles on the group. And you hardly see a Fox article on Facebook groups anywhere. So that's always a good thing. Ozzy said, I watched the Super League final. It was an awesome game. Yeah, it's always great competition there, Ozzy. Pete's adding to the Kikau debate. Kicks will resign. Just had his wedding in Fiji with his mates Ciro Crichton and Birdo attending, and also the support the Bulldogs have given to the Silk Tails in Fiji, which started in 2024. Thanks, Gus. Yeah, I think that's another good bit of layer of context to add to that, Peter. He like I just said, he got married, but they're on honeymoon. The last thing they're going to do is do their photo ops for a signing. You know what I mean? Timmy believes he'll stay. It could be a pathway to coaching in the lower grades at the club. Yeah, if that's what he wants. But maybe he'll go over and be and run water for the Silk Tails, and start that way. I think that's probably the more likely deal. Scotty says Frank the Tank. All right. Sorry, Gas. I thought I'd go through them and keep up with them.
I will say, mate, the Kade Dykes podcast you did was outstanding. I'm not sure if anyone's had a chance to watch it, but I think the hype is real. If you do go on and watch it, you will see an exciting player that really could add another dimension to the Bulldogs, especially now that he's fit and raring to go after a few years of sustained injuries. Michael goes into a lot of detail and shows a lot of footage about his play, and it's worth watching on Dogfather Media. It was a very good 30-minute segue into an exciting player that's now with the Bulldogs. So
yeah, Well, just on there at the moment, the website, even got a link to the cupcake parlor there at the top. I've got to work out how to put advertisers on there, and that's just a practice, but you can click on there. But they're only in Brisbane, so don't order them if you're in Sydney. You're not going to get them. But yeah, look, we've got it's called The New Breed. And when you click on The New Breed, it brings up these young kids. You've got Chinadu Uday, Sasaya Alatini, Cassius Tia. It takes you to, rather than looking through the YouTube channel, you can go here first and click on it straight away. A lot easier to see. And this is the Kade Dykes one. You push on that, it takes you to YouTube, and you can watch it there. And we're getting pretty flash with our stuff. But I'm not going to play it. But thanks for saying that about that gas. I really appreciate that. I do put in a fair bit of effort to build those. And look, when I watched Kade play, I remember him playing in some cup games against the Dogs and playing in some Jersey flag and stuff, and he was just dynamic. And then just watching his highlight reels again, one after the other, if he can look, I'm hearing he's had really good stuff happening with his rehabilitation. It's about all I'm going to say with that. And he should be up there playing. Like the expectation for us fans should be that he plays New South Wales Cup next year and earns himself an extension on his contract because he's progressing. He's only played 9 games of New South Wales Cup since 2023, and he made his debut in the NRL in 2022. He's had 3 major injuries since there, which have all been like season-long injuries. So he's about 6'2", 93, 94 kilos, something like that. Not a small boy at all. Quick. Go watch it, as Gaz said. If you haven't watched it yet, watch the whole thing and get excited about this guy because I think, he was playing in the halves with Metcalf. Metcalf got pretty good offers to go, but they can't keep them all, as they say. They kept this kid. That tells you something. The Dogs are giving him an opportunity, and I think it's just as big an opportunity for the Dogs. So I'm excited about him. I think he is the real deal. And you go and watch some of those passes he throws right to left. Phenomenal. Timmy says he loved watching Big Cassie and Frankie play. With injury to Jeffro, who do you see providing depth on the flanks? Probably a good question to ask while we're here. Gas, what's your thoughts?
Look, there could be a few options there, but even some of the players that we've had this year that have stepped up. Tawala probably is someone that's going to still be there around the mark, but depending on the off season and who steps up. Puts their hand up. It's like Ciro said, the players will pick themselves, and it's going to be an interesting off-season for quite a few players to separate themselves, the ones who are on the fringe, the ones who really get themselves up there. But I think there's going to be a few surprises. But, if Kade Dykes is fit and raring to go, he could be that sort of a player that slots into the back line for us and helps out, especially when we lose a few players in the origin period. Could be an interesting time.
Mm. Yeah, well, fullbacks can play wing.
Yep.
And that's definitely in a spot. Look, Jonathan Sewer, I think, was on a 2-year development contract, so he's still at the club. Look, I'll tell you something which happens at rugby league clubs. Before I do that, just to answer your question, Timmy, we signed a young kid called Braith Sloan in SG Ball for a 3-year deal. If you go and look at his body, he's too big and physical for those guys in Harold Matts this year. You know, like he was too big. He's a centre, and they reckon he's got huge ability. We've also got young Danny Gabriel, who's a very good player, and had a few injuries. Michael Gabriel, we swapped him for Connor Tracy, so he's at the Sharks. Still hasn't played first grade yet, but he's getting closer and closer and closer. You know, Danny, they played each other in a grand final in Jersey Flag, and the Bulldogs won. And Danny had to mark Michael, so you know, Danny goes good. He goes just as good as Michael Gabriel, put it that way. So we've got some depth there. Jope Roke, he replaced Renakama in the Fijian side. So he scored 20 tries in flag last year. He's a bigger, taller version of Jeffro. Get excited. Watch Fiji versus Papua New Guinea. Good old Reece Martin will be playing. That'll make me old mate Charlie happy. You know. But anyway. I was going to say something smart, but anyway, Reece did a good job on the weekend. I like Reece Martin.
Yep.
Still, remember when we lost that unlosable game at Belmore when he was playing, when we lost to Canberra? Remember that?
Canberra, yeah. The referees smashed us that game. We should never have lost that. The calls were disgraceful. Disgraceful.
He had a good game, Reece, that game.
Don't remind me about that game.
That just made you feel we're never going to win at Belmore ever again. Ever. And I don't think we won for the next 5 or 6 games either.
No, it was
no. Sorry, mate. I'm good at bringing the negatives out to take us to a positive. Life's about balance.
It's all right.
Yeah, so look, Jope Roke, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but I expect he's going to potentially play some NRL. Geordie Mazzoni is still at the club, I'm pretty sure. And whilst I think he had an up and down year last year, he's still an absolute speedster. I think it all comes down to their resilience and resolve and can they tackle and all this sort of stuff. We've lost a couple of guys out of the system that I really loved. That had a lot of potential and played really, really well. So we say goodbye to those guys. And look, I'll tell you something now. Look, Pete, when we start losing and stuff, what you start to see, and when youngsters leave and all this sort of thing, youngsters that love the club, right, that are local juniors and they're forced to leave or they're not signed up, you get a lot of people start typing negative shit and bringing that sort of stuff into play. All I'll say is that what player managers do, some player managers are fucking evil. And some, I wouldn't say evil. That's probably the wrong. Some player managers, they tell parents what they want to hear because every parent thinks their kid's the greatest, right? That's just the way we are. We love our kids. We're focused on them. We see everything they do well. Sometimes we see what they do wrong too much as well. But whatever it is, we love our kids and we have a natural bias towards them. Well, player managers, they instill that bias in the parents. And they tell the parents that this kid could be doing more and getting more and getting more all the time because if the kid gets a contract somewhere, even though they might be signed on a development, if he can get him a top 30 in another club, they're going to start putting pressure on the club that they're with that's taking them through this pathway, which is a lot of that gets left out as well. And then all of a sudden you start, a lot of these kids are really tight. They have that bond because they're juniors coming through together. And then if one sort of feels that they're not getting the right end of the deal, it can all affect each other. And that can actually start affecting perception and with the juniors and the parents and all this sort of stuff. It happens at every club. It happens all the time. But what I'm saying is that if you start hearing any of this sort of stuff, just always remember this, to look to the positive. It was that person was in the top 3% or 2% of rugby league players to get that far with this club. And if their dream's still alive and they've still got an opportunity, even if it's in another team playing Ron Massey, even if it's in, a reserve grade contract at another club, they need to thank their junior club for getting them into that position and look at it as a positive, not as a, they brought in, Finau Latu and Lachlan Galvin, who are the same age. They brought them straight into our top 30 over our own kids. They're buying these other kids from Queensland, Iron sharpens iron is all I'm going to say. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And if the challenge gets harder, you got to work harder. But look, I just think I've just heard a lot of stuff going around. You hear it at the end of every season, which is why I always talk about the fact that we need to understand there's so much bigger than just the game of rugby league. There's so much behind the scenes. And when you get the Fox Sports saying that one kid's causing a distraction at the Bulldogs in Galvin, every club is facing 70 or 80 or 90 or 100 distractions from kids that are never going to get another game at their club. Every single year it happens. They've just they're announcing the new summer sign-on squads and stuff. Only a handful of those kids are going to be in our New South Wales Cup side or any New South Wales Cup side in the next 5 to 10 years. Right? So,
mate, I've got
any opportunity should be taken as a blessing, not as an entitlement.
I've got the squad for the Aussie game 2, hot off the press.
All right, where is it? I'll put it in.
Yep.
NRL?
Yep. So
That's a really good way to seg me out of that.
Number 1, Reece Walsh, still in there.
Oh, feels like you're building up to something good, I'm hoping.
No, that's all right. It's number 2, Marky Mark. Number 3, Katoni Staggs. Shibasaki 4. Josh Adokari, number 5. Cameron Munster, 6. Cleary, 7. Lindsay Collins, number 8. In the hooker, Harry Grant. Big Tino in 10. 11, Angus Crichton. 12, Hudson Young. Patrick Carrigan in 13. And on the bench, Dearden, Smith, Cotter, and Kiyomatangi. 18, Bradman Best. And 19, Jacob Preston. And 20, Mitchell Moses. So he's in the squad this week. It's an advancement on last week.
So basically what I said would happen happened. They put in Lindsay Smith.
On the bench, yep.
Presto's made himself up the bench. And look, it's really the normal play, guys. Like, you got to think about it. Then we won the game, so they're not going to really drop anyone. And Carrigan's a natural lock and can be a ball-playing lock as well. Very good in that position. When Jensen moved to prop at the Broncos and he went back to lock, their whole season was a lot better. And Lindsay Smith was on the extended bench last week, so he comes in. Preston wasn't. So Kevy had already named his order of entry. It would appear, though, if we get an injury to Hudson Young or Angus Crichton, Preston will be the first man up.
Next man up, yep. I agree.
Next man up for that.
I agree.
So as much as we wanted the other situation, that was always going to be the play. That was always going to be the main play.
Yeah.
Thank you for getting that from me off the press, brother.
No worries. We're all selfish at heart. We all want our man to be out there. But hopefully if they do a job in game 2, he might reward those players that didn't play in game 3 and put them out there as well.
All right. You want to get to some chats? Let's do it.
Yeah.
I've got to show them. Is that better? You can see the chats?
Yep. The best part of us having depth in our forward pack is that we might be more reliable, rotate our pack so our players don't have to play through injury.
100%.
That's a big one. That caught us out a bit this year. I think we had quite a few as the season went on playing through injury, which probably forced us not to rest players towards the end of the year in a way. You didn't want them to stop playing, otherwise they wouldn't have been able to continue playing this season. So, rotation, as the depth gets stronger, I agree. If you want to move on.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we've talked about that a lot. Ed Phillip, I'll answer this, but anybody worried about Crichton signing? Think we move him on and aggressively try and sign someone like Ethan Strange and Shibasaki, DSC as a mentor, and Kikau on a short leash. All right. Thanks for joining the podcast, Ed, and giving us your opinion and giving some ideas that you think could be talked about. And look, I hate to be really dismissive, but I'll completely disagree with everything you've said there. Not to say it wouldn't work. Like, who bloody knows at the end of the day? Ethan Strange is an absolute animal, and any club would be lucky to have him in their team. So I agree he's a great player. He's not leaving Canberra. I'll let you know that now. We can be as aggressive. Phil Gould set the cap up so we don't have to be aggressive in the market. The Panthers aren't aggressive in the market, are they? They let good players go, and they keep the players that they want to keep who want to stay. They all want to stay. None of them want to leave. That's the system you build. You don't build us, and that's what the Raiders are building too. They build players that, like, Canberra's fucking cold. It's shit. It's not a nice place for a lot of people to live. A lot of people don't have a lot of nice things to say about it. Some people love it, of course, and say they should. They have to buy a lot of kids at a young age to give them that opportunity to develop them, get them into NRL players, and they form really strong bonds there. And they've kept a pretty good core of forwards and really put a lot of seasons into a lot of their players, and they saw the benefits last year. Ethan Strange is not going to the Bulldogs, and nor would we want him to come to the Bulldogs. He's not a Bulldog, but he plays like he could be. So I get what you mean. When it comes to Crichton, Stephen Crichton, I told everyone all year, this guy was severely hampered. You could see even when he got an intercept and DCE ran him down. Stephen Crichton isn't slow. If he's getting caught by DCE in a game of football, that's because Crichton isn't right. And I don't think his body's been right for 2 or 3 years. He had you could see those injuries he got with the nerve injuries and stuff like that. You could see he had leg injuries. I think he's way incapacitated. And I think as a player, that's just part of what he accepts. The pain and everything is all part of the job. He never says no to playing a game of football. He'd be playing for Samoa right now if he had to. If he could, he would. So the thing with Stephen Crichton is he's a leader. He's definitely a great footballer. And I think we haven't even seen anywhere near his best, and I think we're going to see that over the next couple of years. I think you're going to see this guy he might have a nice little off season. The injury might have been the best thing to happen to him. They get to rehabilitate him, get him nice and fresh, because he's had a lot of hard pre-seasons. He might, and they might have him humming by the second half of the season this year. And we could be in for something special when it comes to Stephen Crichton. And you've heard it here first. Kikau on a short leash. Look, sometimes I get what you mean with that. Viliame just plays the way he plays, and sometimes it doesn't work to our advantage, where most of the time it does. I know what you mean. but I wouldn't want him anywhere else. Shibasaki, really good season. We'll see how he goes next year. He went and got on the piss this year as well, so he's obviously got some. He's normal, you know what I mean? He's got some flaws. He's a normal person. I wouldn't be going after Shibasaki. He's just signed with the Broncos. They've got him pretty cheap as well. And he's about 27 years old. So Crichton's only 25, mate. 24 or 25. Him and Burton, 24 or 25. Leo Thompson, 24, 25. Bronson Cherry, same age. These guys are still very, very young. They're not going anywhere. They're so we don't need to be aggressive with anyone, I don't think. And if a player outgrows their cap value, they will disappear from the club. It was a comment made by James, I think James up earlier, or somebody said it earlier. They leave and we replace them with someone else and they get paid more money at another club. That And how that works, look at what happened with Melbourne when Josh Adokar come to Canterbury. He left their side on about $550. The players that they got to replace him for the exact same money that the Bulldogs spent were Xavier Coates on $350 and Nick Meaney on $225. So for $575, they got Coates and Meaney, and we got Adokar. That's how good teams' salary caps work. Your good players go to other clubs, cost them an arm and a leg, and you're able to buy some players you need to plug the gaps in where you need to fill them, and they come to your club because they want to learn from your coach, they want to be in your system, they want to win a premiership, all that sort of stuff. They want to play rep footy, all that, and you get them for the right price, and then you bring your juniors through who, if you get the right ones early enough, are in your system, are loyal to your system, and are worth $1 million, hopefully, each by the time they're peaking. And that's how it works with your spine.
And don't forget, with Ethan Strange, the Raiders had let go of Jamal Fogarty. So
exactly.
They're not going to let go of everyone, mate. They had to make a call, and they went for, even though Fogarty was an instrumental part of their team, finishing first this year. So they'll be a different team without him. But so they, there's no letting go of Strange. But Crichton's value to the Bulldogs, even in what he's done now, and he's not been at his peak fitness. Imagine when he does get himself right. As a leader, he's been outstanding. He's taken a team from effectively a wooden spoon team, worst defensive record ever, to now a premiership team, basically, that's going to be knocking on the door for many years to come. So everybody should be really excited with what's coming. And he showed us just a glimpse this year, that game against Canberra, when he just decided to say, come with me, boys. He showed us a glimpse of what he can do, and he can win a game on his own. So that's how good he is. So imagine when he's fit the whole year. Watch out.
Yep. Timmy says, to answer my previous question, they have retained Hamish Wilson, and I can't think of the other player retained. Yeah, Lewis Grossamy was the other player, Timmy, so far as well. Hamish Wilson, good talent. I remember a game where we lost to I think it was the Bears, 50-0. He was on the right edge with Luke Smith, Mitchell Woods. Hamish, I think, had to play wing, which didn't really suit, I don't think. And they conceded about 8 tries down that edge. And then he went back to Flegg, and he had an outstanding game in Flegg the next week. So I think this is the sort of stuff when a player gets demoted after they've had a bad game and then they respond when they get demoted is something that this club really holds in high regard. I remember Lipoi Hopoi, round 1 in New South Wales Cup against Parramatta. They put him on an unfamiliar edge. He and what's his name, the fullback nobody liked, who's in Brisbane now from the Eels.
Hayes Perham.
There was him in the centres. I think there was Toby out on that side as well. they let in about 3 or 4 tries down the same edge. We ended up winning the game, but it was like 40-36 or something we won. And Lipoy was demoted to Ron Massey the next week. He ran for over 300 metres in the middle and got himself back into New South Wales Cup the week later. So that's the sort of players they want to retain, players that when they get dropped, they don't drop their lollies or lose their confidence or shirk the task or carry on. They get to work and they work hard. And and I think that's just my little spin on it. I think Hamish Wilson showed a little bit of that. And that's the sort of stuff he's showing to get himself an opportunity. Sewer will be re-signed, I think, too. So Peter Sewer is on a development contract for 2026. He is contracted as that is confirmed. I have that confirmed on a development deal. But like any of these guys, if they're not in our top 30 and we don't have space for them right now, and they get offered big deals elsewhere, like of 200, 250 in a top 30 spot, like a Joash Papali and that sort of thing, the club may want to keep these players, but they're not going to stand in their way of their career to get a top 30 spot. And we saw Jordan Samrani, Joash, Gideon Katonga. Those 3 guys have all got themselves extensions at the Parramatta Eels in their top 30. So well done to them. And they've all come through our Bulldog system. You know, they come from other areas. Jordan was at the Sharks and was injured for ages. Gideon was from West Tigers. But Joash has been with the Bulldogs the whole time. So there's another one. Aussie says, how many new players are we getting in 26? Was it 2 or 3? So, Aussie, we've got Leo Thompson. We've got Kade Dykes. It's looking like we're getting Sean O'Sullivan for backup in the halves. He'll be sort of replaced Drew Hutchison as that experienced half. Drew's currently looking for a club. So thank you to Drew in all his efforts with the club. Did a really good job. And he was like the Nathan Cleary of reserve grade when he was on. He was absolutely phenomenal. We've also, the other one, just to answer you, Timmy, is Cassius Tia, because he played a lot of centres and stuff last year, but also can play half. And we're getting Gordon Chan Kum Tong. I think that's how it's pronounced. From Manly, he's a Bankstown Bulls junior, and he announced on a podcast that he was coming home, and he's definitely coming back to the Bulldogs. That's 100% fact. I don't know if he's in the top 30, if a spot will be made available for him in the top 30 with someone potentially moving out of the team, or whether he's going to be in the development list, which is what I heard initially. So he's another one, but he's obviously a hooker who could play a small lock role. They're all going to be able to play that dual role. While we're here, Brave Sloan, Timmy says, come through with CJ, 100%. CJ's on a 2-year deal with SG Ball, so hopefully we get to see CJ come through and get to play some Jersey flag this year. That'd be wonderful. Absolute talent. Yeah, Timmy talking about Reece. James, can you talk more on the half in reserves that runs and breaks the line, throws bullet passes? Mitchell Woods, do you mean? Do you reckon he means Mitchell Woods, Gas?
Could be Woods, mate. He's the freak at the bottom end there that's coming in. So it's either him or Kade Dykes, mate. I don't know. It's but Mitchell Woods has been around for a while. I've seen a few bullet passes on that highlights he showed from, especially the ones from left to right. They were fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, Woods has got that break and also can break the line himself. So he's a good runner. It was interesting, even Mitch Woods playing his first New South Wales Cup game. I think they got to the end of the game off memory. We were there and the scores were level and he had an opportunity to kick a field goal and missed late in the game to win the game. And he was so ropeable with himself, so disappointed he couldn't finish the job off. That was good to see. I mean, it wasn't obviously good that he missed, but it was good to see that he didn't just walk off and think, oh, well, bad luck. He was devastated that he didn't kick that field goal to win the game for them. So I think the game finished all square levels. So yeah, but that's...
I'll probably do a movie on Mitchell Woods. I might as well. Be easy to do. But this was last year. He was at 179 centimetres. That's my height. So he'd be 5'11", or 5'10 and a half, something like that. He weighs 79 kilos. I'd say he'd be weighing over 80 now, and I reckon you'll see an 85-kilogram Mitchell Woods, maybe more, come round one next year. 19 years old, date of birth 15th of May, so he'll be turning 20 5 days before I turn 49, I think. Fucking hell.
Ooh.
So he was 18th man last year. He now lost to the West Tigers. Lots of stuff on Mitchell Woods. Many people talking about him starting the year, saying Burton should play 5'8" and Mitch Woods and young Galvin should start in the halves. I don't think that's how it's going to start. It may end up that way at one point or one day. But for this way, if Burton's starting centre next year, I would be confident to say Burton wouldn't be around for too many years after that. And I wouldn't be very happy about that, put it that way. I think Burton's definitely still the best half in our club. And he'll prove that after pre-season this year. He'll get a nice break. He'll get that body ready, and he'll come to training as an absolute man on a mission for the Bulldogs in 2026. And this young fella, Mitchell Woods, is going to push him all the way. He's going to push him and Galvin to new levels. And when Mitch gets his chance, whoever relinquishes that spot in the 17 may not get it back. That's how cutthroat it's going to be at the Bulldogs in coming years. Timmy says Sue's a handy player. He's more than a handy player, but he's just got to go out there, and I just hope he stays with the Bulldogs and gets himself into that side, because he's got the talent. He's just got to show us how he can do it. G'day, Scotty.
Scotty,
he loves the music that I play. He loves the Cog. Got to check out Cog's new song, Scotty. It's pretty cool. Bro, whatever is best for the club. Business at live hash at times. Rob says, Aki, he's been robbed. Preston, the world's been robbed. The world's been robbed. Kevy's robbed the world of Preston.
Might be a few
do or die match for it. Like, they've obviously given England a chance. They've given England a chance to square the series. But in a dead rubber, do you think Presto gets a jersey? Not sure. Hopefully.
Depends on the injuries, mate. Let's see what happens.
Welcome to you, Auxily. I don't know how to pronounce, but welcome to you. Looks like you're drinking with my son in the black shirt. Do you see Kikau transitioning into a middle forward role if he extends with us? What do you think, Gas?
Well, look, we've spoken about this quite a few times in the last few weeks.
We have.
It's not something that any of us have ruled out. But at the moment, I still see him playing a pivotal role in the position that he's in now. I still think we've got a few of those middle forwards coming through that'll fill the void nicely for us, especially with Leo coming on board as well. So, yeah, I still think it's not time for that, to be honest. I think he's still got enough legs to keep driving what he does in that position he's in now on that left edge.
Well, look, he's played 177 games, scored 50 tries. He's only 30, about 116 kgs. He'll be 31 next year in April. Last year, 22 games, 6 tries, 5 line breaks, 9 line break assists, 61 offloads. I think that was 3rd or 4th in the comp. Tackle efficiency. Now, people talk about his missed tackles. You got to understand, Kikau's chasing people to tackle them. He's literally intensively going after targets continuously. And when you're doing that at full pelt, you're going to fall off some. Kikau's not sitting in the line and just throwing a lazy hand out and missing tackles. Like, it's not like that. Running meters over 100 is always good for kicks. And that was his best season he's had since he got to the Dogs. 103 average meters. Contributed a career high in fantasy points. Not that means much, but it shows he's contributing a lot to the side. His missed tackle count was a lot less this year too. So tackled at 83% in 2024. 89% in 2025. Lifted his offload game, that second phase stuff. Line breaks were a bit less. So, he's worked harder. I think he would have run a lot more decoys last year. I'm pretty sure I've seen that. He ran a lot more decoys in 2025. 6 tries is a good return. And 12 wins, 10 losses. And you got to remember, Kikau was the captain when we were missing our origin players and stuff like that. So they generally have a better win ratio.
Yeah.
But look, there's some things he does in his games which frustrate the hell out of me. But you can never deny the amount of pressure he puts on is just something you want in your club and in your team. But he's now got his win rate up to 50% at the Dogs, which is good considering the poor start he had in 2023. So that's good. So there you go. Something we can do, show the pictures of these players when people talk about them.
Yep, that's it.
Presto got Rob. We've got one spot left, Gratitude. So as you can see, top 30s rolling along the screen constantly. 29 players in it. G'day, Ziad. Welcome. I think Presto will play game 3 if we win game 2. I think you might be right, brother.
But don't forget, Isaiah Yeo only misses a week for the head concussion as well. Don't forget.
Well, they might just keep Isaiah fresh too, or they might give Carrigan a rest or someone. He's just played a grand final series.
There's other options, you're right. So, but that's just something to keep in the back of your mind.
Yeah, definitely a good point, Gaz. 100%. GK says he's such a fan of Todd and wants to see more of him, but super excited to see how Finau, Spinks, and Underhill go when they debut. A troll comment about Credo, probably. It probably was. I probably gave it. But look, if he's a Bulldogs fan and that's what they think, I'm going to give it the time of day. Jack Todd. Let's talk about Toddy. What's your thoughts on Toddy?
I think he needs to get Mal Meninga's cast on and wear it on both his arms, mate.
Yeah.
He's been very unlucky, unfortunately. To me, he reminds me a little bit of that sort of Cam Murray type player, that very quick play the ball, high energy, sort of hits the line, hard. And you can see from that try he scored, he was basically almost over the dead ball line by the time he got the ball down. He just comes in at speed with everything he does. So great attribute to have that kind of energy in player. I think a little bit like Satili sort of kind of plays a little bit the same as well. When gets the ball, it's just bang. It's just acceleration. Just very unlucky with the injuries, mate. So if he can get himself sorted and not, and stay on the field, I think he can make a name for himself. Like I mentioned previously, he can be another sort of Dale Finucane for us, hopefully.
Well, look, he's the one big difference between him and Cameron Murray and Finucane and that is he's a lot bigger than those guys.
Yeah.
He's tall and he weighs about 106 kilos. And I think I just got a feeling he's going to end up closer to being a prop than a lock. But that's debatable, and we just have to wait and see. But you're right. It's the footwork he has. He can make line breaks. He can do it all. And the last game he played off the bench was really poor. I don't know what happened to him. He just had nothing in the tank, and then they had to they had to reset him and get him going again. But he'd only just come back from, he wasn't long back from that arm injury that he had. So these guys have got to get that. People forget residual fitness is such a thing. And if you lose a bit of it, it's hard to gain it back. But he might have had another issue too. He might have been crook.
Yeah.
He might have just felt shit. Might not have slept the night before, Might have had his mother-in-law visit. You never know. Sorry, I shouldn't say stuff like that, but it can affect a player to the point of that they career fails because of it. Just having a joke, peeps. Just having a joke. But look, Jack Todd, I think it's a really important year for Jack, and I think he just needs some luck with injuries. We want to see it. We'll be rooting for him to have a massive preseason and just have him ticking along nicely. And then when they unleash him, it's going to be Toddzilla. Toddzilla will be unleashed on the NRL. But I don't see he's got a bit to work on with that ball playing stuff, but he can do it. But for me, it's the amount of minutes he can generate and play in the middle in cup, and hopefully just have his body and his fitness. I think the fitness is the key to this guy. A bit of luck with injuries, because the talent and everything else they see that we've seen will take care of itself if he can solve those problems.
Yeah.
Scotty says we've got halves aplenty. I love Crichton signing on long term. Aki, what's Aki saying?
You can see that, I think on your photo, in the background, the video mainly for clearing Edwards, and Edwards clearing that challenge. He talks a little bit later. He says that Jacob Preston beat Cameron Munster in a first to pick up the ball challenge in the Australian training session today.
Ah.
So, yeah.
Unbelievable. That should have been automatic entry into the team.
That's it.
Stephen Critter ain't going anywhere. His best centre is a machine. Welcome, Samuel. Lisa. Yeah, Samuel didn't like the comment about moving Crichton on. Yeah, they did get Remus Smith and Nick Meaney. They got Remus at a different point, though. I thought they got him the year before, Timmy. What I'm talking about is they got those two players off the market at the same time for what it cost us to get Addo Carr to our team.
Mm-hmm.
And new member Andy says, hopefully Viliame re-signs, damaging ball runner and a game changer when he's on. GK loves Jonathan Sewer. His debut was underrated, good in contact, and he's got the source in attack in the air. Keen to see him play great for us. Well, I hope so, mate. I hope so. But he's another one that we may lose, because these player managers, they like to reinforce that these kids are worth more than what they're getting at the moment, or that they should be in a top 30 somewhere. And this is across the board. This is happening everywhere, right? We have kids come to our club based off the same thing, and sometimes the clubs just have to let them go. You know what I mean? His last game for us against the Dragons, whilst they rested about 8 players, if you can go watch the St. George game at the end of the season last year for New South Wales Cup, they put Jono onto the opposite side of the field to what he'd been playing all year. And he was just phenomenal how good he was in that game, and just made me want him to. I just wanted to see him get to first grade and become an international off that game. But it just was a New South Wales Cup game. It was late in the season. They had 8 or 9 of their best players out. It does make a difference. It definitely does. But Jonathan Sewer, I hope, sticks it out with the Bulldogs and doesn't go to another team's top 30. That's what I hope. Look, any centre that goes up against Critter knows they're up against it, so they're an aura for a reason. That's it. Scotty, well, they've extended Joash, Scotty, so they've extended him. They like what he brings to the club. He's a club player. He's learned a lot at the Bulldogs. He's got a lot of talent, and he's a good backup for Iongi, a fullback, and Peze's coming in the halves, but it's forced out the young fella who went to them from the Rabbitohs, so he's now gone to Super League. And I think the Jonah Peze signing is absolute bullshit. Did we talk about that last week?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about that. All right. Welcome, Anthony. Welcome, champion. James was talking about Mitch Wood, so that's good. Yeah, Gordon should be on the development list, but just depends what happens, because he was top 30 at Manly, but he definitely confirmed he is at the Bulldogs. 100% at the Dogs. Getting old, Mick. I just turned 52 on the 11th. Well, happy birthday to you, Scotty Wood. I've got a little present for you, Peter, too. It'll be coming in the mail for Christmas. Don't worry, it didn't cost much, but you'll like it. Burton's a gun for sure. Hey, boys. It would be sad to lose Burton. Adam. Yeah, I agree, Scotty. Do you want to read some of these?
Yeah. England has, what's this, good but no good enough title. Not sure what he's trying to say there, mate.
Oh, he's just saying England were good, but they just weren't good enough. They're not winning the Ashes.
Not enough. No, that's going to be a hard one. We'd have to really drop off. Charge down King kicks. Yes, he is. Todd is a beast. Yes. Underhill could be anything. I agree.
Yeah, good. Well, we might talk about Underhill on next week.
Yep.
We'll talk a bit more about Jack Underhill, champion.
Yep. Train on SMC coach from the club, and he said the list of injuries Todd has is insane.
Wow.
So, yeah, he trains with. Yep. So that's sounds like a lot of our players.
If you actually got any sort of insights from what our pretty much generally across the board, so it's hard to you don't make them out to be superstars, but when people start carrying on social media, as I say, just remember these guys are literally playing through some of the worst pain that you can imagine on that football field and literally running full pelt at brick walls multiple times and being treated like they're a brick wall multiple times. So it's like a car crash over and over and over again and again and again and again. And you just got to watch, I think it was the captain's run before, I don't know if it was the Panthers game or the Storm semi-final. Watch Jamin Salmon running out onto the field. He could barely run. Now, people would say, well, why is he in the team and that sort of thing? Well, that shows you they'd rather play him than someone else in the team because that's how important he is to the team, right? It's good. They wouldn't play these guys if they weren't important to the side and to the cohesion of the team. There's so much more to it than we understand a lot of the time. And, the amount of pain he would have been in and will be in for the rest of his life is immense. So many of them. Samuel Hughes, Burton, Crichton, Connor Tracy. Like, do you think he was actually healed properly from that injury?
Carraz.
Yeah, Jacob Carraz, he couldn't play for the first 7 rounds. Because he's got a lifelong injury. Max King, in 23 and 24, was wearing moon boots to get through the week. Was playing with broken bones in his feet, and torn muscles and everything else. Like, you've got no idea. And when you hear about it, I feel small as a man, to be honest. I won't go any further than saying I don't look small, do I? Back, shoulders, ankles, the broken arms are just the most obvious. Yeah, well, that's it. That's it. And anyone in this listening to this podcast, if you've done your back, or your neck or anything, can you imagine trying to go and play a game of rugby league? Enjoy that. Good question here. Do we think we'll sign one of the 3 being Buller, Tino, or Kalen Ponga? I'll go to you.
All options, like none of them, to be honest, would be out of place if they were to get a start, in the team. But I don't know, like Tino's an interesting one. I mean, if you look at his record at the Titans and what he's done, the amount of games he's played and the win-loss record, it's not like he's changing the world over there when he does well. I mean, he's a great player, don't get me wrong. But, I'm not sure, with the price tag these players will come at, whether they're going to upset the apple cart for our team. You'd have to make some changes in other areas to make accommodations for them. And I'm not so sure that's exactly what they want to do moving forward. But having said that, if any of these players were wanted by the club and they were available and they could make them work, then Gus and Ciro would make it work if they were able to. But I wouldn't say no to any of them if they were considering them. So, what do you think, mate?
Look, I would think that Buller's obviously an option because I still think that, like Kade Dykes, as much as I'm wrapped and excited about him, and we've got young, I always forget his name. Always, as soon as I remember it, I forget it again. It's so annoying. The young guy in New South Wales Cup coming through. I think Buller's probably the fact he's just joined Isaac Moses and he hasn't been extended yet. And if they take on the last, if they accept his contract at the Tigers for the last year, they have to pay him $950,000. So if they don't, he's able to go on the open market a year earlier. And and take another job, or if he stays at the Tigers and they accept, they got to pay him $950 in his last year. So they haven't sort of moved on that. Like he's one of these long striding fullbacks, really talented, but how's his body going to hold up with the expectation of work that he's got to do at the Bulldogs, and what would we be willing to pay him? That's another question. Tino, let's bring up my zero tackle articles. So just to give myself a wrap, I'm actually doing all the 5 players that have got to improve at every club, which is going to take me a fair while. We did the Broncos first, and it's got a heap of views. It's still trending highly on zero tackle, but I'm just finding my way to the Tino article we did. We talked a bit about Tino last week, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so we did the article there, and basically I've said that he's testing the open market for the 3rd time in how long? Do we want a player who's going to do that? And I can't see our club giving him and his manager that flexibility. So if he wants to come to the Bulldogs and move from the Gold Coast to Belmore and be further away from his family, I just see it as a zero chance of happening. Zero chance of happening. I just think the manager is trying to get more money for his client. And if it's not more money, if the Gold Coast can't offer him more money, then maybe he's like, I'm happy to go to Melbourne.
Or North Sydney,
or North Sydney or wherever it is. Wherever it is to get the big dollars. So I just can't see him playing for the Bulldogs at all. And the fact that we boo him every time he touches the ball might also have something to do with it.
Thanks to what he did to Birdo in Origin, obviously.
That's it. Now, Kalen Ponga, we also did the article on Kalen Ponga.
Yep.
And Connor Tracy. So if and that was still trending, got a heap of views. If if he's not signed by the Dogs quite early, I would be thinking we're making a play for someone. It just makes sense. Yeah, so look, if Critter could get to full fitness and they work that fella out, which may never happen, he might have injuries for the rest of his life. You don't know. They've sort of kept that quiet about Critter, and probably with good reason. But just say he was to be playing at his absolute ultimate pace. Like he was doing 300 meters for the Panthers at fullback when he played there. So he was able to do it for a while, but can he sustain it with that sort of physicality and role? I don't know. Obviously, he'd be good at communication at the back. So whether they look to put him there, and I've always said that was an option because Critter could be because of the money he's on. It just makes sense to have that player in a spine role. But the fact he can kick goals, the fact that he's versatile, the fact that he's a great leader, you can pay him that money in any sort of position in the team. But it would work even better if he was in a spine role and he could play that role really well. Because I've always seen the centre role as you have one senior centre and one position for someone who's come through either on the wing or they're a really good young talent and you start them on another side, or you get yourself you go and buy someone who's really good at can fill that role if need be. And the fact that we're going to have we've got Bronson Cherry there, we've got Jacob Preston on the wing, and we've got Critter there in the centres. to me, those three become a lot of senior players in your back five, and it just makes us a bit heavy salary cap wise in those positions, which is why you want to see it spread out a little bit to be able to have a critter play in your spine and play it well would be so great to our team, and it's balance. But obviously, you want to have someone who can defend on a right edge as well. So yeah, good question, Kalen Ponga. As I said, if Newcastle might think if we can shed 900K off our cap and we go get a couple of players who are going to work hard and keep us in games, and then use young talents like Fletcher Sharp and that, who are very good players, they might be willing to take that path. But as I've also said, you'd think Justin Holbrook would be very excited about having Dylan Brown, Fletcher Sharp, and Kalen Ponga in his side, and add some other good players to that as well. So thanks for that question there, brother. You can pay me for it if you want with a super chat. I've got to pay gas. He costs me hundreds a week. Only joking.
I'll keep adding them to the tab.
Yeah, add it to the tab, mate. Add it to the tab. All right, let's remove that. Bring us back up here. I still owe you merch for winning a quiz earlier this year, but still say it was a pleasure meeting you at the King's birthday match this year. I'll get you something, Timmy. You just got to tell me what you want, brother. You tell me what you want. Josh Addo car, license plate. Anyone want that? I bet you he'd want this one.
Jason Riles. Oh, Mr. Mania.
Cost me $30, that.
Mr. Mania.
Nighttime podcasts. They're like a TV show. Good bloke, Dean. Very good businessman by the sound of it. Yeah, James, 50. So James, same age as Scotty. Ozzy says the future looks bright. Oh, no, Scott. James would play all of them. They could run out there. My bad. If they can run, I'd send them. The Shire's only halfway from Belmore. Yeah, well, that's why we had the Bra boys and all that fighting the Belmore boys. They're still going about that. Yeah, they all do live in the Shire. Well, Presto lives at Manly, so he's got a long commute out in peak hour. Adam can't see Ponga coming to the Dogs. Yeah, look, it's hard to see any of those players coming to the Dogs, but there's an opportunity there. I'd rule Tino out definitely. Fullbacks, I think, will come down to what they do with Connor Tracy, what they think is going to happen in the future with Critter, and the progression of Kade Dykes. It's about young players coming through to win a comp. We have hit a wall at the moment, though did well last season. Look, the young players don't have to win comps for us to do well with your juniors. That's not. I think there was a real strategy to have those kids come through and sort of keep the core groups together. They were through the middle of the season swapping teams. You know, they take 10 players out of Flegg and put them into Ron Massey and then bring the Ron Massey kids in for a couple of games to try and see who's got the ones that they can go take forward. But I think last year was a little bit different. It was really about getting a strategic choice to get a few people ready. Where it was just different. It was just different. But not saying that, I'm not polishing a turd. There was some games where it just wasn't good enough, and they played poorly in some of the games. But a hell of a lot of chopping and changing yet again last year. And no real success outside of, I think it was the Lisa Fiola girls. And look, we should have, the two girls' sides were the best sides all year and should have made the grand finals, but didn't. They got done by Para in the prelims. So Timmy wants a cat. He wants a bucket hat. I got no Bulldogs bucket hat, so I can make you a cheap one, though. I can get you a Temu one if you want, Timmy. But I got a really big head, so bucket hats don't fit me. So, what else are we going to talk about?
You wanted to thank the players that are leaving.
Yeah, so we got there's been no huge announcements, but I think the Afawalo brothers have left the club. But I'm not sure if it's been announced yet properly where they've gone, but they've found another club, which is fantastic for them. I think Joey O'Neill, I don't think there's any talk about him being at the club, which is a bit sad. I think Ruben Moyle may no longer be at the club. So a lot of these kids you talk them all up. Eventually, one or two make it. You know what I mean? You could be like the guru and back every young kid across the nation in. And then when one becomes successful, you can take credit for spotting them first. But yeah, look, a lot of really good, talented kids. And sometimes it's just a drop ball, which may not have even been their fault. Sometimes it's a missed tackle, or they didn't turn up for a day. They might have had some shit going on, didn't make to training on time a couple of times. It could be a whole heap of stuff. There's kids that have done everything asked of them, but didn't get that extension or the knock on the door. So, whatever it is, I thank them all. Hopefully whoever's leaving the club from the juniors, well done to all of you guys. You've lived a dream in one way. You've made it further than most people could even dream of. And if you continue your dream, hopefully you get success elsewhere. Drew Hutchison's left the club, as we know. Blake Wilson's finally announced at Manly.
Blake Taff.
Who's that?
Blake Taff.
Blake Taff with the English Super League.
Toby Sexton.
Toby. So thank you, guys.
Reid Marnie.
I'm sure you are all watching and tuning into every word I've got to say. So thank you. The check's in the mail and whatever else. How can you purchase merch without putting your details online? If you want to purchase merch from the Bulldogs themselves, you can go to www.bulldogs.com and look for the team store. But they will want you to, you need to pay it. You need to pay a credit card. But if you're in Sydney, go to the Bulldogs team store. That's where you can buy merch.
Build right.
You just hand your cash or your card, and they have they cost the same price there. They might have some in-store sort of sales and stuff where they getting rid of stock and whatever else cheaper.
And if you're a member, you'll get the discount as well. Use your member card.
Yeah. Merch from me. I don't sell merch to people. I don't believe in selling merch. I'll give merch, so I won't sell it. If people start saying they want to walk around with all things Bulldog shirts and want to pay for it, let me know. But I doubt it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be doing that. unless there was a real demand for it. No worries, Timmy. You might be able to do it over the phone somehow, Scotty. Oh, me? You don't have to buy merch off me, brother.
It's your private stash, mate.
Oh, he knows where the Burwood Road one is. Scotty, I think if you wanted to join the group, I think you've got to have a YouTube account, and then you've got to pay by. You need a Visa debit card or a Visa card or something, or a PayPal account or something like that, and it takes the money out. Is OK Jones staying? I think so. He's one that Gus has a high opinion of. I'd say he'd be staying, but you want to subscribe? Okay. Yeah. You sort of got to do it for YouTube, mate. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much the only way, but that's all right, brother. Go by the big issue every couple of months or something. Someone off the street. And that'd be good for me, mate. All right. We've been going for over 2 hours. Was there anyone else we wanted to talk about?
I think that's pretty much it for the night, mate.
All righty. But Scotty, look, if you wanted the merch or something, you let me know. I'll hook you up. I'll send you something.
Did you see the other blue and whites today? What happened? The Toronto Blue Jays and the LA Dodgers.
What happened?
Normal baseball. It's game 3 of the World Series. It's 1-1, best of 7. That game 3 today. Normal baseball game goes for 9 innings, but if it's still level, they keep going. It went to the bottom of the 18th to decide the game. It was 5-5, and they just kept going inning after inning.
Wow.
My Blue Jays ended up losing 6-5, but they're still alive in the series, the blue and whites. So I went to a Blue Jays game in '98 in Toronto. So it was only 5 years after they won the World Series, but they haven't been back since. It's been 32 years. So go the blue and whites. Got to get those blue and whites home.
Yeah, I didn't mind playing baseball or softball at school, but watch it at the Olympics for the Aussies, but that's about it.
Yeah. No, that was an enthralling game. No, all good. Yeah, have a good weekend, mate. Good week.
You too, Scotty. Thank you to James. Thank you to the other James, the member James. Thanks to GK, Scotty, Adam, Anthony, Peter. I'll call one James and I'll call the other one Jimmy. Thanks for joining, Andy. Make sure everyone's liked, subscribed if they can. If they can't, don't worry about it. Thanks to Ziad, AWXLLY, Gratitude, Ed Phillip. Who else have we got?
Aki, see you, mate. Good night.
See you, Aki.
Go to sleep, mate. You've got school tomorrow.
And Timmy. Thank you, Timmy. You've done wonderful again. Scotty Warren, Scotty Wood, Dave Miller, who was on at the start. And thank you to Gas. Thanks to Joby as well, and everyone who listens. And a big shout out to all the people who don't come on the lives but actually listen to this podcast over the next week or so. People are continually watching it, and I can see all the statistics and stuff that come through. So big appreciation to listening to me on your radio or wherever it is.
See you, Pete. See you,
Pete,
guys.
say goodbye to you.
Last one. Go the Dogs.
Good way to end it. Night, fellas, and go the Dogs. And thank you to everyone else. There'll be more to come, guys. Check out the website, Dogfather Media. Boycott Fox Sports. till they change what their style. Do it doggy style, guys. Oh, Timmy's got one. Oh, Timmy's at work. Well done, bro. Go the Aussies. That's the Aussie way. Watch the podcast at work, brother. Galvin Media. That's right. Galvin 360.
That's it.
Well, look, if people, I put something on. If you start doing super chats or something, if I get 5 in a show one day, I'll anyone who does it, I'll do them a personalised buzz video, or Uncle Pete or Ray Warren. He might give you a call, or the dog father himself, whichever you want. For you tragics out there, they are flops, James. I love you too, Adam. Thank you so much, brother. Keep it going. I like the new name of the channel too, Aussie Adams Prison Stories. Jaden Campbell for our last one. We might talk about that next week, but very good player. Had a lot of injuries. See how he goes. He's going all right, though. He did a good job last year. Des Hasler did a good job putting him in halfback. So I like Jaden Campbell a lot, but see how he goes for another season at the Titans. No worries, champion. Thank you, Scotty. Thank you, Peter. Thank you so much, Peter. Take my breath away. Dun, dun, dun. All right, let's go. Have a good night.
See you guys.